The HOA fined me $150 a day for refusing to move my yacht, the same small boat my late wife named Hope Floats. They called it an eyesore, threatened to put a lien on my home, even stood on my lawn with smug smiles as if they owned the whole lake. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't imagine, was that I was about to buy the entire lake itself. And when I did, their little empire crumbled under their own weight. My name's Tom Braddock, retired Navy engineer widower, stubborn by nature if you ask my daughter. I live on Lake Viewpoint in a modest house with a small dock I built myself to Navy code. The lake had always been my refuge, the place where Sarah, my wife, found peace during chemo. She'd sit wrapped in a blanket even in the heat of summer and watch the water sparkle until her face softened with something that looked like hope. After she passed, that boat became my anchor, the last living piece of her voice. So when Pamela Greer, the HOA president, showed up in her gleaming white SUV, clipboard in hand, and sneered at the boat, I knew trouble had arrived. She was the type who ran the neighborhood like it was her personal kingdom, barking orders about mailbox colors and lawn heights. Now she had a new target. "Mr. Braddock," she said, not greeting me but accusing me. "Your vessel disrupts the uniform shoreline. According to Bylaw 7.4, you'll need to move it to a commercial marina. Non-compliance results in daily fines." Her heels were sinking into my grass as she spoke, and I remember thinking it fit someone so sure of her own authority, even when standing on someone else's land. I told her calmly the bylaw didn't exist. I'd read those covenants cover to cover. She didn't care. A few days later, I got a certified letter embossed HOA, letterhead fines, retroactive to the day the boat touched the dock, already $2,000 and climbing. The kicker, if I didn't pay, they'd put a lien on my house. Over a boat. Over Sarah's boat. The neighborhood turned cold overnight. Folks who used to wave while walking their dogs suddenly couldn't look me in the eye. Pamela blasted an email about unauthorized long-term mooring threatening property values, complete with a zoomed-out photo of Hope Floats that made her look lonely out of place. She never named me, just called me Lot 18, isolating me like a disease. It worked. Even my daughter Maya called from across the state, worried and frustrated. "Dad, please, it's just a boat. Sell it. It's not worth all this stress." I tried to explain, but she didn't see it. To her, it was just fiberglass and rust. To me, it was Sarah's laughter, Sarah's strength when everything else was falling apart. Hanging up that call, I felt a crack inside me. Maybe Maya was right. Maybe I was being stubborn. Maybe I was risking everything over something I should let go. For a while, I believed that, especially when Pamela escalated. She plastered laminated violation signs on my dock, hired people to take pictures of my house like it was a crime scene, even edited together. A video to make me look unhinged, and posted it in the community group. The pressure mounted until one night Maya called crying. She'd just been passed over for a promotion. Her boss said it was because of family drama. Pamela and her crew had reached into my daughter's life and cut her down to get at me. That broke me. I sat in the dark house phone, heavy in my hand, drowning in guilt. Maybe I should have folded. Maybe giving up was the only way to protect her. But then the system I knew best, blueprints, schematics, foundations, whispered to me. In the Navy, I'd learned that what you see above the water is nothing compared to the structures below. Pamela saw a boat. I started seeing the framework under her little kingdom. So I went to the county, dug through dusty files, maps, microfilm, and there it was. The lake wasn't owned by the HOA, wasn't owned by the county either. It was an orphaned asset forgotten for decades after the development company dissolved, which meant it could be claimed, which meant Pamela's throne was standing on water she didn't even control. I hired a land use attorney, a quiet man with a sharp grin who told me we had a real shot. We filed a claim through a private trust named after Sarah's initials, SB Legacy Trust. We placed the required public notice in the classifieds where no one in the HOA ever looked. While Pamela was still marching around with her clipboard, I was preparing the trap she was about to step into. She tried one more power play before it all shifted. One morning, a heavy tow truck rumbled down my driveway, Pamela standing proudly beside it with her security chief and a paralegal-turned-lackey. They were going to impound my boat. I walked out calm, as ever told the driver he needed a judge's order, not just an HOA resolution. Showed him the law in black and white, the survey maps. The man looked at me then, at Pamela, shook his head, and drove off. Pamela's face twisted with fury. But she wasn't done. She cut together the footage to paint me as some sovereign citizen nutjob trying to rally the neighborhood against me. That was when I almost broke. Maya called sobbing that they'd dragged her name into it, hurt her career, ruined her chances. She begged me to stop. I sat there ready to quit, ready to pull the boat and disappear inside my walls. But then my phone buzzed. A county attorney. Calm voice on the other end. "Mr. Braddock, the notice period has expired. No one contested the claim. Are you still interested in acquiring those parcels?" My heart pounded. I gripped the phone like a lifeline. "Yes," I said. "Yes, I am." And just like that, the lake was mine. 30 acres of water and all rights attached for less than Pamela's bogus fines. I didn't gloat. Not yet. I placed 3 simple buoys on the water-marking property lines, one near the community dock, one by their irrigation pump, 150 feet from Pamela's manicured backyard. Then, my attorney drafted letters to every HOA board member. Legal, certified undeniable, the lake belonged to the SB Legacy Trust. Every dock, every pump, every light now trespassed on my property. They had 30 days to remove them. The board scrambled into an emergency meeting, faces pale. Pamela shouting into her phone, demanding the county undo it. But the deed was recorded, stamped final. They couldn't fight paper with bluster. I attended that meeting. Pamela stood at the front with a projector trying to spin it, claiming I'd filed some frivolous action. I sat in the front row, denim, shirt, boots, calm as could be. When she pointed to my house on the screen, accusing me of refusing to follow community rules, I finally spoke. "That's not true, Pamela. This started because you invented a bylaw that doesn't exist." The room stirred. People glanced at each other. I kept going, laying out the proof, her fake fines, the ignored calls, the edited video, even how they targeted Maya's career. The crowd shifted from curious to furious. Then I dropped the hammer, held up the certified deed, the legal ownership of the lake. Handed it to my neighbor Roy, who passed it around. Pamela sputtered, accused me of manipulating the system. No, I told her I used the system. The real one. You were so busy writing rules for property you never owned. You never bothered to check the title. And then I asked the question everyone should have asked years ago. Where did all the dues go, all the assessments you charged for lake maintenance? Because I can promise you the legal owner never received a dime. The room exploded. Pamela's empire collapsed right there. Her own board members shrank in their seats. Neighbors shouted for audits, shouted for her resignation. She stormed out, red-faced, but she wasn't finished. 2 days later, she came back with landscapers and a pump truck trying to restore the shoreline as if she still had authority. Instead, they spilled diesel into the water, spreading rainbow slicks across the reeds. I'd installed cameras. I called the EPA. Deputies and an agent showed up just in time to catch Pamela directing the chaos. When confronted, she shoved me hard enough that I stumbled onto my dock. That was it. Handcuffs clicked shut on her wrists, the final sound of her reign. The HOA under new leadership had to pay cleanup costs, wipe every bogus fine from my record, even issue a written apology to me and my daughter. Pamela was done disgraced, powerless. And me, I sat on my dock looking at the boat Sarah had named the same one that started this storm. Pamela tried to take my home, my memories, my dignity. In the end, she lost everything because she never understood one simple truth. You don't win by controlling people, you win by standing your ground when it matters most.